Well, joining me in the studio now to discuss this further is the international analyst Marco Vicenzino. Marco, there were 3 times more people trying to enter Europe in 2014 than in 2013, illegal migrants like this. Why are we seeing so many more cases of these migrants trying to cross over these very dangerous seas?
The numbers in 2015 at this point with that of 2014 seem to be quite consistent. The difference now is that last year, when Operation Mare Nostrum, which was executed by the Italian military, the Navy and its Air Force, it was proactively going in towards Libyan waters to get these migrants at a very early stage. This year now, there's a different operation. Operation Mare Nostrum came to a conclusion at the end of 2014, which was $10 million a month, $10 million US. Now the new one, Operation Triton, has been cut down $3 million a month, and it has a far more limited in its scope. It only goes 30 kilometers off coast, and its search and rescue element is very limited. So as a result, these boats that are very fragile, when the Italian Navy, they're not actively going to seek them. So now you're seeing a lot more accidents happen compared to last year.
Well, you're saying they're not actively going to seek them. Do you think they stopped that, the Italian authorities stopped that search and rescue thing, partly because they thought that was part of the cause of the problem, that migrants were seeing that they were being saved and thinking, well, there's more safety now, we should go now?
2 elements to this. First is the fact of budgetary constraints. Italy, like many other Mediterranean countries, in a deep economic crisis. Secondly is the fact that there was domestic opposition, political opposition in Italy, saying that exact point, that by being proactive, you're actually encouraging more migration. So that was criticism from the political opposition in Italy and also at the European level. Prime Minister Cameron and several other European heads of state were making the same point, saying we need to cut this down and not encourage further migration.
Yeah, well, you mentioned David Cameron there. The EU has today set out a package of measures, as we heard in the top link earlier, including strengthening the Triton patrol service and introducing a military mandate to destroy people smugglers' boats. How much do you think this will help this issue in the short term? I
think in terms of saving lives, it'll play a role in that. In terms of that whole argument about encouraging more migration, I think the numbers will remain the same. And in fact, according to some estimates, there's about 500,000 to 1 million people in Libya, foreigners in Libya, ready to make that cross into Europe. So I think in terms of what really needs to be done is, A, there needs to be a greater European effort. And this week at the meeting, we'll see the heads of state probably committing more resources. Secondly is also on the North African side is between the 2 rival governments that are fighting in Libya, there needs to be more pressure on them to come together into a coalition government and create more stability on Libya's maritime borders and also its land borders. And then also it's the fact that you need pursuit and prosecution of the smugglers in a very, very strong way.
The Italian authorities have for years now been talking about this huge burden that they've had to cope with over the last few years. Do you think now the only sort of positive and benefit that we can see from these horrible tragedies at sea and hundreds of people dying might be that the international community wakes up a bit and does something more to help the Italian authorities?
It could serve as a catalyst, but once again, there's a lot of politics involved here. We've been seeing this gradual increase basically from the beginning of the Arab uprisings in 2011 until now. It's been mostly people fleeing conflicts in the Middle East and North Africa, and people from sub-Saharan Africa fleeing other adversities and problems there. So it's two particular regions, Middle East, North Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, and then within Europe, you have this fact of a deep economic crisis and the rise of anti-immigration populist parties, which are presenting a threat to the mainstream parties. So it's as if all these are all converging into a perfect storm.
Do you think the migrants themselves know the true risks that they face when they get on these boats?
I think so. I would think so. It's been going on for several years now. I think they're fully aware. And the fact that they're fully aware and they're still taking this risk, it's a testament to the level of desperation that they're experiencing. Basically, they have nothing to lose from their perspective.
There's another big meeting on Thursday between European leaders. What do you expect to see at that meeting? Do you expect to see more concrete measures as were laid out today?
More financing and more money will be made available. It won't be a restoration of Operation Mare Nostrum from 2014, but it will be a strengthening of Operation Triton. It'll be something in between the two, enough money to say that they're actually doing something, but in reality it's going to take some time before they can do anything even more concrete. Once again, you have several European member states having different political agendas. This will take quite a while to actually try to manage in a proper, effective way.
Marco Vicenzino, all very interesting, all very complicated. Thank you very much
Thank
indeed
you
for your insights on that.